Welcome. My name is Bhante Bodhidhaja, and this is my last talk here in Western Australia. Had a chilly morning here in WA before I will be going over to Melbourne. We have been talking about the 4 efforts, which I coined the 4 inclinations, and today it's turn for the right inclination number 4. So we're talking about the wholesome states, the positive mind states, or we could even call them the skillful mind states. Whatever word kind of makes sense to you and works. So today we are going to talk about let it show. So the title for today is Let It Show, and it means that once we have invited those skillful mind states into our minds that we talked about last time, so we let them in and we let them grow, and once they start to grow and establish themselves, they start to show within our character and they start to even overflow out into the world. So we start to share them with the beings around us, and they kind of become natural to us. They become interwoven with who we are, or if you want to be a bit more accurate, who we have conditioned ourselves to be. That is basically what sila is, what character is. It's just a habit that we have established that has taken root and that starts to just manifest itself very, very effortlessly. It's something which starts to happen automatically. It's like a reflex, but it's a positive reflex, it's a wholesome reflex instead of a negative or unwholesome reflex. And that's what we talked about in the beginning of these sessions in number 1 and in number 2, when we have the unwholesome mind states that we try to avoid, stay away from, and try to make sure that once we get caught up in them, that we find a way out, that we can overcome them and abandon them. So with those positive, skillful mind states, we now try to stay with them as long as possible. But it is a practice, especially for people who are learning to meditate, for example, which is a way of cultivating those positive, joyful mind states. You will realize that it lasts for a little while, you get relaxed, you get peaceful, but then it somehow escapes you. Distractions break in again, or you get a bit bored maybe and you distract yourself. So you have to return back to it. So there is an application of mindfulness which is required. So you take your awareness, you take your mindfulness, and you put it on an object that will help you to calm down and to focus and to settle on it. And this movement will have to be repeated quite a few times when we are practicing and learning this skill. But the longer we are doing this, the easier it actually becomes to settle on it and to remain on our positive mind states and on our meditation object. So I like to compare this with riding the wave. So I've never been surfing myself, and I haven't really been exposed to it that much. But every now and then you catch a glimpse of someone somewhere on TV when I was a layperson, or sometimes even on the billboards when I'm traveling. You see these guys and girls with their surfing boards going out and riding those waves. So you have to first find a spot where those waves are, those positive waves, and then you get out there and you get on that wave, you jump on that wave, so to speak, or you jump on your board, and you get in the right place, and then you ride and ride and ride out that wave as long as you can. And that's the same thing with positive mind states. So whenever they start to arise, we try to make sure we don't fall off them too quickly, but we actually learn the skill of riding them for as long as possible and to take us the longest distance as possible. And then if we fall off, which will naturally happen every now and then, especially in the beginning, it doesn't mean we just get out of the water and we get all frustrated and we say we can't do this. In the last retreat, online retreat that we just did recently, we talked about the growth mindset instead of having a fixed mindset. And the growth mindset means that you are willing to learn, that you're realizing that practicing is going to get you there eventually, but that it is a journey, that it isn't just something natural that comes to you. So we practice, like the people in the water. When they fall off one wave, there is always another wave to catch. So they go and do that. And with this riding the wave, it's a little bit like a game. It's something which is interesting. You're joyful about it. Hopefully you're not scared of the process. So when you are standing on your board, you're not all, stiff and kind of forceful. You are flexible. You're enjoying yourself. And you are going with the flow there. And that's the same in meditation and also the same in your life. Please don't be too rigid about these things. Be playful, be positive. Now, once we are starting to establish those positive mind states, sometimes we get distracted. Sometimes we destroy these beautiful mind states. And that is very sad. So if we can try to avoid destroying the beautiful energy that we have built up. I sometimes try to compare that or use the simile of the room of the teenager who has finally gotten, his time or her time together, went in there and cleaned up the mess, and it's nice and shiny, and they cleaned it so it even smells nice at that time as well. So that's when you've invited the mind states into your mind and established them to a certain degree. And now the maintenance doesn't really take that much effort if you keep putting the effort in and make sure you're repeating the good actions of cleaning a little bit. So you don't have to do a deep clean, but you carry on cleaning and maintaining it so it stays the same. But if you suddenly just decide to drop all your dirty washing on the floor, or you come in with your dirty shoes, or you kind of, whatever it is, you drop a bomb into your room, then you destroy that beautiful cleanliness and that beautiful order and that beautiful atmosphere that you have created. So maintaining also means making sure that we don't destroy these things, that we guard them, and that we protect them so that they can stay like that for as long as possible. Also, in our lives, we try to invest into things that are a bit more stable, into things that last a little bit longer. So with possessions, for example, we know that they will crumble away at some stage, that they will fall apart, get stolen or whatever. And even with people, the investment we do there, it stays usually for longer, but even people we do lose eventually. But if we invest into the relationship we have towards our things and the relationship we have towards our loved ones, towards the people in our lives. So even if those people and those things are getting replaced, we can still practice having a wholesome way of relating to them, applying our minds in the right way. And then, of course, another thing which is great is once we have established these things within us, once they start to show, that we let them overflow and that we share the goodness, that we share the positivity, that we share whatever we have learned and gained in this life freely, generously, kindly with all the people around us. And that will project that energy outwards, but it will also reflect it back to us again. So sometimes, our mental states, our moods might be fluctuating, but when we are a very positive person, when we're a person who is, very giving, very generous, then when that happens, in those times where we might be in a little bit of a low, the people that we consider our friends, the people that we have helped, they will turn around and they will help us through those difficult times, through those difficult situations. So when you have a look at the sutta, or the suttas, there is a few that talk about the right efforts. The fourth one has by far the most terms to describe that mind state and how the maintenance functions. So let me just read out the translation from Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi here. So he says, it's the continuance, non-disappearance, strengthening, increase and fulfillment by development of arisen wholesome states. And that's what we will be practicing in meditation in our day-to-day life, but also I'll try to weave it a little bit into today's meditation that we will do together. One thing that I mentioned at the beginning of these sessions, and that I was asked also during the online retreats that Venerable Chunda and myself were doing, is how my mum is faring over in Switzerland, because when we started all this, the coronavirus just hit the nursing home. So my mother hasn't been infected, which is nice. We're all happy about that. It's the wife of my godfather got infected, but amazingly, even though she is 89 years old and she had a bit of lung problems, she survived it without any bigger problems. But of course, when something like this happens, always a few people are affected. And I don't know exactly what the number is, but I think around 10 people of that nursing home that has about 140 residents did pass away in this process because of the coronavirus. So our thoughts are with those people. We wish that they had a passing which wasn't too difficult. A lot of people today in this difficult situation, when they do have the virus and they are passing away, unfortunately they are alone. So I hope that these people didn't feel alone, that they could remember all the good things they have done in their lives and then go to the next state of being with a positive mind state. So these right efforts can be practiced and should be practiced. The right inclination, the right application of the mind should of course be practiced in situations such as these that arise during this pandemic as well. And then of course our thoughts go out to all the friends and the family that maybe weren't able to be there or couldn't even go to a proper funeral. So please remember that we are connected with our minds, much more so than we are connected through our language, through our physical being. So do connect with the beings that have passed away. And when we do funerals, we often remind people that forgiveness practice is something which can be very, very useful. And it doesn't mean that the people we are forgiving have to be present. We can still do that practice just with our minds. And one of the kind of jobs of the monastics, I feel, at the funerals is often to be there as a bridge, to be there to speak for the people that are not among us anymore, and to convey their forgiveness and their willingness to let go of the things that might have happened. And the forgiveness ceremony that couldn't really take place in a proper way when both people or both parties were present physically. But it can be done just by your mind. Yes, so I think that also kind of rounds off that. We are hoping that the virus has now passed in the nursing home. But as we all know, the situation isn't over. And most likely it's not going to be over for quite a while. This virus will stay with us before we get a vaccine or before we get a cure that actually works. So there will be waves, there will be ripples that will be going through all of our communities at different times on this globe. So it's going to take time. It's going to take strength. But I hope that through these sessions that we do here, through meditation, through learning these skills, that we can work on our resilience and that we can get in touch with the resources that are needed to deal with a situation such as this one. Okay, let's move to the meditation now. I've been talking for a while, so let's see if we can get ourselves into a comfortable posture that we can maintain, like we maintain the positive mind states for an extended period of time. Gently closing the eyes at the beginning of this practice. If that is something that feels okay, comfortable for you. If not, you can leave your eyes slightly open. And just gaze out in a relaxed way. And then when you feel enough safety, you can shut them all the way. And then we take our awareness, our attention, very, very gently, and let it fall back onto our bodies, onto the sensations that are happening in our bodies. And that way we connect, we reconnect with the present moment, with what is happening right now. So one way is to connect with the sensations. Another way can also be connecting with the sounds. Here in WA we have a couple of little birds chirping away outside every now and then. Or the occasional car in the distance driving past. And when we listen to that sound, without thinking about it, just receiving it and listening to it, then we arrive in the present moment. And when we do arrive in the present moment, we will notice that we automatically let go of the past and the future. that we unburdened ourselves from them. And this unburdening feels very pleasant. And it comes with relaxation and with joy. And these positive qualities are our wave. They're the wave of skillfulness that we start to ride in a relaxed, playful way. We ride them out. We let ourselves be carried by them as long as possible and as far as possible. And if we get carried away by something else, a thought or an emotion, let's return back to those waves by gently taking our awareness and letting it rest on the sensations in our bodies. For example, on our face, around our eyes, on our cheeks, and on the jaw. And as we do that, with kindness, with acceptance and warmth, then we can feel how the relaxation, the ease and the joy start to bubble up again. How the muscles relax. And that means we have hit another wave of joy. Another wave of positive mind states. And then we can move to our neck. And to our shoulders. And let them deeply relax. we're often carrying things with us, and we can physically feel that in our body, around our neck and our shoulders. Let us just drop that weight, that burden. As soon as we realize we're in the process of it, or we are actually doing it, then we can feel this surge of joy. This surge of spaciousness opening up. And let us nurture it. So that we can stay with it. For an extended period of time. Let's move to our chests. To the entirety of the torso. And let those waves of joy, of relaxation and ease, ripple and build in our chest area as well. Not forcing it, but just allowing it to grow. And to carry us along. Moving down to our bellies. To the lower back. And also the hips. Letting these areas be smooth, at ease and relaxed. And then once the blip, ripple, or the wave of joy and relaxation starts to take hold, let's ride it out. And then let's feel both of our arms from the shoulders all the way down to the hands. Let them hang loose. Supported by your legs or resting in your lap. Relaxed, but tingling with joy and energy. Positive, warming, relaxing energy. And then let's turn to our legs. From our buttocks all the way down over our knees, eventually our ankles, down to our feet. Hopefully you can also feel the wave of relaxation, of joy and energy flow through the entirety of your legs. All the way down to the soles of the feet.
Oh.
And then you can let your awareness rest on your whole body. On this field of energy. Which is in flux, but in a joyful and relaxed way. And as stillness and peace start to arise, you realize you don't need a surfing board. You don't need to surf the waves anymore, because this water is carrying you, supporting you. As long as you don't interfere and just let go. Let yourself be carried. By this beautiful energy of stillness and peace. Gently check in with your mind and see if you are trying to control things, even if it's ever slightly, trying to focus on something specific. See if you can just drop it. Open up and just be with whatever is right now. Floating away, being carried by the present moment. Just peaceful. Still. And deeply joyful and enjoyable. And then you can let yourself fall into your breath. And be carried by your breath. Fully trusting and giving yourself over to this natural process of breathing. And as we are getting closer to the end of this meditation now, let's reflect and see how much peace, relaxation, and joy we were able to cultivate. We were able to maintain. We were able to settle on and stay with. While guarding and protecting it so it doesn't get affected or even destroyed by distraction and negativity. And let us carry it with us out of meditation, out into this world, spreading it, sharing it freely. then we can slowly get back into our bodies. Connect with our surroundings through our senses, gently opening our eyes again. So we've talked about all the 4 right efforts. So please understand what they are, how they work, so that we can all apply our minds out in this world, in the relationships with other people, but also while relating to ourselves, and of course in meditation and on our path to freedom. Thanks for joining us today, and have a good rest of your day.